Hey everybody, welcome to the Press Box. I'm Tariq Spence filling in for Bill Pucko, and that means if I'm here, that means somebody else is in my seat. Carl, good to have you back.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
The podcast?
Falkin Around, it is available on Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout. Where all the cool kids hang out.
Absolutely.
He just made up that last one. I'm confident of it.
No, that's real.
Buzzsprout.
Fact.
No, you can
Google, man.
You can catch my podcast on Knee Beats. Yeah, check that out. It's over there right now.
You need visual because you have the jersey. So let's talk a bit about the jersey.
Well, I mean, the Amerks Open this week. The Kendall McCardle Gamer, right? I think me and his mom might be the only two that have these things here. But no, the Amerks open up this week. I mean, it's going to be a rough hockey season. Upstairs, definitely. Potentially for Rochester, bringing back just a couple of core pieces. But hey, it's hockey, and it's back.
All right, let's first start with the Major League Baseball playoffs. Of the teams still remaining, don't worry, Duffy, you'll get to your Yankees and Red Sox game in a minute, because I know a lot of Yankee fans are over that game already, but I'm sure you're going to say I told you so. Who do you think, Carl, should be the team to watch out for the playoffs?
Well, you look at the NL West and the Dodgers and Giants and how great they are, and of course the American League's strong with Tampa and Boston moving on. But the team I'm looking at, surprise team a little bit, Milwaukee Brewers. Ooh. They play great defense. They got three pitchers, starting pitchers with sub-3 ERAs. They're a really good team, and Josh Hader is the best closer in baseball right now. And in the playoffs, you get a guy who can come in, shut the door. Mariano Rivera was the best of all time. Josh Hader is the best right now. Watch the Brewers.
Are you interested in anything other than you were right about the Yankees?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously that's the thing that everyone wants to hear about here on the Press Box. No, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I was really looking forward to Toronto getting in because I think Toronto's young. I think they were, that team is a season or two away from being legitimately dominant. I wanted to see what young guys in that position were going to be able to do. I'm interested in whatever happens with the Dodgers as we move forward here. I know, as we tape this, things aren't really happening right now. But, yeah, can a 106-win team get out of a one-game series and what happens moving forward? Because to your point, I mean, look, the year that St. Louis went all the way, they won 82 games. Nobody predicted them to win a single game in their first series. They won the World Series. And I read a stat the other day, the nerd heads, that every team in Major League Baseball, whether it's the best or the worst, has a 40% chance to win their first playoff series if they got in. Like if you took the Orioles and put them in the AL playoffs right now, they have a 40% chance of winning that series. I mean, that's what makes baseball playoffs so great, is it's just so wide open.
And it's also fun to see that every series needs a villain. Are the Houston Astros still the villain in baseball right now?
Oh, I think so. They're not now because, especially in the Northeast, they're forgotten about a little bit. They go about their business, they do things. But Altuve's still there, Correa's still there, Bregman's still there. They're really good. And then when they get to a spot where they're playing somebody and it's a big game, yeah, they're a villain and it's going to come out. The minute they go on the road, you're going to hear it, you're going to see the signs. They're the villain.
All right, when it comes to the NFL, any surprise teams early on? I know that we only played 4 games. We're in week 5 of the NFL already. But, Pat, any surprise teams in the NFL?
I mean, the things that I didn't surprise anybody else. I was beating up the Rams all offseason for trading for what I thought was a spent bullet in Matthew Stafford. I am shocked. I mean, you knew the defense was going to be good. I am shocked that offense is as efficient and as powerful as it is. And if Matthew Stafford could stay healthy, I mean, the Chargers, too, the Chargers were going to take a step forward. I didn't think that they would take the step forward as big as they did. I mean, Justin Herbert looks like a legitimate top 5 NFL quarterback. I mean, the defense there is amazing. Both of those teams I was shocked by.
Any surprise, Carl?
I'm a little surprised, not by Kyler Murray and what the offense is doing in Arizona, but how good that defense is. They brought in J.J. Watt, and there was a lot of talk about that when that was happening. Should the Bills look to bring him in? Boy, putting him with Chandler Jones, and all of a sudden that defense has an identity. They're tough. They went into L.A., and I agree with you about the Rams, and they kicked the crap out of the Rams. They really beat them up and won that game. They surprised me. One other small surprise, how did the Steelers not know how shot Ben Roethlisberger was? I mean, did they not see a tape from last year?
I think they did. I think they're being held hostage by the legend that is Ben Roethlisberger. Because look, I mean, the Steelers, I think above any other team in this league, care about the tradition and legacy of the people they put out on the field. I mean, look, you can feel the ghost when you walk through that city. I don't think that they wanted to be the ones to tell Roethlisberger to walk away. And I also think Roethlisberger is stupid enough to stay not this year, but try and fight for another year in Pittsburgh after it. It was a mistake. But what do you do?
It's too bad because that defense can win a Super Bowl.
It's sometimes hard to break up with an older quarterback, especially when he brought so many championships to your organization. We'll talk Bills coming up next. You're watching the Rochester Press Box.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay and Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Welcome back to the Press Box. This segment, Bill's segment, is being brought to you by Ralph Honda. For 3 generations, celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right. RalphHonda.com. All right, Buffalo Bills, 40-point win against Houston. You were nervous last week. Do you feel better now?
I wasn't nervous. I didn't think they were going to get to 17 points. I was wrong. I mean, look, the weather had something to do with it. Man, Davis Mills is not an NFL quarterback. It's not the kid's fault, right? He's essentially their third-string quarterback. But, I mean, what wasn't to like last week other than the 0-for-3 in the red zone in the first half?
Well, I mean, for the Buffalo Bills offensively, listen, you're worried about Josh Allen. Sometimes he looks good. Sometimes he looks bad. That was a wet football, so I will put that to the side for a little bit. But he looked a little bit better, and boy, that running game sure came through.
Early on, before the season started, one of my Bills musts, 1,200 yards combined between Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, because I think one of the things that the playoffs showed last year, they're not multiple when Brian Daboll gets pass happy, and they don't stick to the run. I think they can run it, and I think moving Spencer Brown to right tackle maybe gives them a little bit more beef up front that allows them to run. I like the fact that they're running the ball, especially, you mentioned the wet ball. That's a day you got to run it. You got to lead. The weather's nasty. Only bad things that can happen to give a team a chance. They ran it well in the second half, and I was really happy to see that.
Now the Bills defense, you know full well, that is a great shutout. They could have allowed a couple different points. It is a wet ball. Anything could have happened, but the Bills defense shut out again.
2 shutouts in 3 weeks. And even the game against Washington, right? Like, you're 2 weird plays away from holding them to 1, maybe no touchdowns. Yeah, I don't know what to think, man, because, like, there are legitimate problems on this defense. Like, that corner 2, whether it's Levi Wallace or whoever else they're going to throw back there, that's a problem. But they're finding ways to overcome it. Matt Milano is a lockdown cover at linebacker, which is absolutely insane. If he's healthy, everything's going to be okay. But then again, you're walking this week against what is the most formidable offense in the NFL. Yeah, they got offensive line problems, but the Chiefs can turn it on at any point. Can a defense that pitched 2 shutouts in 3 weeks keep up with a Kansas City team that the last 2 games they've played last season?
What's interesting to me is the 2 games that they played last year, Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier came in with 2 different game plans. The first game plan was they're not going to beat us throwing it. Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 161 yards rushing in that game, and the Chiefs dominated the game through the ground, won easily. Playoffs, all right, we can't allow that to happen, but we'll play soft coverage in a zone and keep everything in front of them. You had Travis Kelce. I think he had 11 catches for like 130 yards, a couple touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, I believe, had 170 yards. What's the adjustment? You've tried 2 things. Is there a third thing? Is there a combination? How do they attack? And to your point about Kansas City's offensive line, do the young bucks, Rousseau, Boogie Basham got a sack last week, and Epinenza, are those guys able to generate the pressure necessary to knock Mahomes off his spot?
Well, I mean, I think if you're asking what game they're going to play, I think they go back and play the game that they played, if they're worried about it, the opening time they played Kansas City, because McDermott loves playing these games where he's going to muck it up and let his guys have the last possession and see what happens. And it almost worked. My fear as a Bills fan would be they're going to try that again, flip the coin and go, all right, we lost on the last possession last time. We're going to come take it from you this time.
And to your point, if the Bills are going to win, and if they're going to go where a lot of us hope they will go, it's going to be because Josh Allen and the offense score more points. It's got to be, at some point, you're a franchise quarterback, get it done in game time, in winning time.
That's going to be fun to watch.
The most interesting stat I saw all week from our good friend Mike Kenelana. The Chiefs and the Bills are both tied at second in the NFL for points scored. I believe it was 134 points they've scored so far this season. The Bills' defense is second in points allowed. The Chiefs, 32nd in the NFL. They're the worst defense points allowed in the NFL right now. If you can't beat the Chiefs this week, It's never going to happen.
Can't have a shootout. That is the Bill segment being brought to you by Ralph Honda. Like it or not, coming up next.
Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falkin Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back to the Press Box. This segment, the Press Box, like it or not, being brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. All right, Carl, like it or not, the owner of the Jaguars not happy with Urban Meyer, says he has to regain their trust and respect.
Look, Urban Meyer did something that many people have done. He got drunk and acted like an ass. It happens. How do you handle that? Well, word is he tried to brush it off. He tried to lie about it. He did not come clean. And, you know, when you're a man who's trying to develop a culture, you know, Sean McDermott, we laughed a little bit about the culture and the process and all that. But guess what? That's a real thing. And in football, if you don't trust the man you're playing for, and I think there's a lot of that in Jacksonville right now, it's a bad thing, and I'll be surprised if Urban Meyer finishes his first year in Jacksonville.
I thought the same thing. I got a bad vibe from this, Duffy, and it's not so much about Urban Meyer and his personal life and what's going on there, but this doesn't feel good that an owner about 3 games into a season, 4 games into a season is saying that he's got to earn it back. I got a bad feeling about that London game, because if they don't win that London game against the Miami Dolphins, the way the Miami Dolphins are right now, we might have a problem in Jacksonville.
And he's not going to be able to get back. He's going to take his passport and leave him there, right? And I think everybody in America will be happy with that, minus Urban Meyer's facts. I take that back even after what happened. But I think it's all justified, and I'm going to tell you why in just a little while on Unfinished Business.
Oh, looking forward to that. All right, now let's go to the NBA. The GMs do these surveys every year, who they think is going to win the championship. The Brooklyn Nets are at the top of that list. I think the Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks, who won it last year, are right behind them. Your thoughts on the GMs thinking the Nets are going to win it all?
How are the Nets going to win it all when you could have one of your 3 superstars only playing half the games, with Kyrie Irving not having a vaccination and they're not being clear about how he's going to play on the floor? There were so many distractions on that team. So many distractions. And we saw the issues that showed up last year with just normal distractions of those 3 guys doing and saying the things that they do in Harden, Durant, and Irving. There's no way, right? Like, this would be the first team in NBA history that would be fighting to lose home court advantage in the NBA Finals, because that means you get 4 games with your star, 3 games without. I don't know. Who knows? I know. There's no way it's the Nets right now.
It's always on paper, though, Carl. When you look on paper, the Nets look like they're a stacked team, but not everybody's playing if he's unvaccinated.
Well, here's the thing, though. If I said to you a team with Kevin Durant and a healthy James Harden, remember, last we saw James Harden, he was not nearly what he normally is. In the East, which other than Milwaukee, who's going to challenge that duo? And now in some games, you bring in Kyrie Irving, or do they trade Kyrie Irving for something?
Yeah.
That's the best team in the East by far. And I think that's where GMs look at it. You know, in the West, the Lakers, is Anthony Davis hurt? Yeah, probably. Is he, street clothes? Probably. You got Phoenix, you've got other teams out there that can challenge them. I think it's a lot more difficult to come out of the West than the East, and I think that plays in a lot.
I mean, I get that point, but I think there's 2 D words you have to consider here, even without Irving. Take the Irving things out of it. Defense and depth. And those have been the 2 problems with Brooklyn the last couple of years. You're so top-heavy on your salary, right? You need your 7th, 8th, sometimes 9th guy when you're getting deep into the playoffs to play legitimate minutes and make a difference. And I don't know if the Nets have those guys right now.
They're a size, 14 for for 13 from being in the Eastern Finals last year. And if they get there, who knows what happens? And that's even with Kyrie not playing, with Harden. If Joe Harris plays better, they win that series. So I think the depth, yes, it's a concern, but there's so much talent there. They should be the team to come out of the East.
I can't wait for the start of the NBA season. NHL season 2 right around the corner. We'll do Unfinished Business coming up next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back to the Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business, being brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Better roof, better price. Better call Greg the Roofer. Save time and money on your roof siding and windows. Call today for a free estimate, and financing is available. GregTheRoofer.com. Pat Duffy fires off first.
Well, with the questions that have been revolving around Urban Meyer's job security, there have been a lot of folks coming out and saying, listen, man, all he did, if he did anything, was violate a trust he had with his wife, and that's nobody's business, and it shouldn't affect his employment under a football owner. And you'd be right. If it wasn't for the circumstances that got him in it in the first place, this ain't about infidelity or getting grinded on or where his hands may not or may have been. It's about stupidity. First of all, you're Urban Meyer in Columbus, Ohio, where you brought a team to a national championship. They're going to notice you inside that bar. You should be aware of that. Second of all, there are cameras everywhere, and you are not having a great season. Just the idea that you're going out in public and having dinner with your family when you skipped a flight home with your team from Cincinnati after a loss is alarming. But the most alarming thing, if I'm the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Shad Khan, you did this in a bar with your name on it. It's his bar. You walked into a place with your face where people want to meet you, knowing you were in town. Let a woman do what she did all over your pants and then went, oh, I made a mistake. No, it ain't about potential infidelity. It's about making the right decision as a grown man. And if you can't make the right decision in that spot, when the right decision is obvious, why should I trust you putting together my football team with all of these young players that I'm going to need to be good for a very long time? If they fire him, it's valid, and I would right now.
This week, a lot of people in this area are very upset because the New York Yankees season ended prematurely in their minds yet again. 2009 is a long time ago for a Yankee to have won a championship, but that's how long it's been. Garrett Cole, $324 million over 10 years, got the ball in a one-game playoff. And I don't want to hear Yankee fans say, the one-game playoff's stupid. No, it's great. It's great because of what happened. It's great theater. It adds excitement. But you've got your ace on full rest going. Legends are made in New York because of October. You look at Derek Jeter, his regular season, 5th all-time in hits. People remember the catch where he dove into left field bleachers. You remember the play where Giambi was out at home. Reggie Jackson, people forgot that he had a great career in Oakland and won World Series there before he was Mr. October in New York. Garrett Cole, never going to be known as Mr. October. At this point, he'll be lucky to be known as a Yankee for the rest of that 10 years.
So Ben Simmons is not with the Philadelphia 76ers, at least not with the team. And by the time I'm recording this, maybe with another team and on his merry way to another career, the rest of his career in the NBA. The process didn't work, but the indecisiveness by Philadelphia is the reason why they are where they are. You could have done this right after the playoffs, where the emotions were high, where Ben Simmons did not perform well. His market value is extremely high. Great defensive player, great young player, still has a lot of basketball left in him, but the relationship is over. And the fact that it went this long made Philadelphia indecisive. Now, I don't know if it's Daryl Morey not realizing what he had and what he could get for what this player is, but now you have a star player not on your team, not ready for the start of the season, and you don't have anybody to replace him. The problem here is this: indecisiveness in sports is the worst possible place you could be in. You either are getting better and everybody's on the same roster ready to go, or it's time to pack up and move. That's Unfinished Business, being brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Now we get ready to watch some football as we get ready to take us in the week number 5 of the NFL. Looking forward to what, Duffy?
Bills Chiefs. I'm going to be throwing up all day long. Nervous. I hate primetime games. I know we wanted them. I hate them. I can't handle it. I can't wait all day.
It's only 7 hours, Carl. What do you mean?
The best is this Sunday. If you're really a loser, like this guy, 9 o'clock game, 1 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games, 8 o'clock games.
You're watching Jets Atlanta?
It's football.
You're
Tariq.
not gonna?
It's football, Tariq. It's a Sunday morning, roll out of bed, turn it on, see what Zach Wilson's got.
What if I had a good Saturday night? All right, we'll find out.
Stay in bed.
Thank you for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. We'll talk to you next week.